welcome. I will be showing you an old video I created in 2009 following my attendance to the Let Gaza Live rallies in Washington, D.C. They took place in January 2009, and this video includes footage from that rally as well as photographs that were documented, showing documentation of the Gaza rubble at the time, the destruction of Gaza at the time. I just want to tell you guys, this was 15 years ago. And that was a long time ago, 15 years ago. And nothing much has happened since then. The destruction of Gaza and of the Palestinian culture as we know it has continued and worsened to the extent that very little remains from Gaza. So just like the U.S. was established from colonization, so too was Israel. Israel is today what the U.S. colonists were in the early centuries of this country. And coincidentally, the U.S. has funded a lot of the destruction of Gaza over the decades, before World War II, during World War II, and especially after World War II. So this really began 80 years ago or so, and it has continued since then. And it was always intended to be a takeover. Israel was always intended to take over the Palestinian territory in that region and claim it as its own. So anyway, I'm going to play this video. I will leave a link to it in the description below. It is from my old YouTube channel. I hope you enjoy it.
He's an organizer of the Florida demonstrations against the war in Gaza. Please help me welcome Michael Wagner.
Sisters and brothers, I went to Iraq in 2003, believing that we were going to liberate the Iraqi people and ease the suffering of the Iraqi people to help those in need. And I believe this because I grew up in a country where the mainstream media shapes public opinion. A mainstream media that is owned by the same corporations that profit from every bomb that is dropped and every missile that is fired. A mainstream media that is simply the mouthpiece for a system that profits from war and exploitation.
So he had said that it profits from war and exploitation. And again, he was saying this back in 2009. People have been saying this for the last century, if not longer. And it's just, it falls on deaf ears. It really does. How virtually every single war the U.S. has funded and participated in brought in more money for the U.S. If we just consider private interests like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and others, even the CIA, even the FBI, like they are all fully aware of what has happened to the people of Gaza, to the Palestinian people. They are all aware of what has happened to Palestine. Like if you talk to an Israeli in Israel, a majority of them are going to tell you Palestine doesn't even exist. But to many people in the world, it still does. To me, it still does. But it was always intended to be a takeover. Palestine was intended to become what the U.S. is now, a a virtually colonized territory where the original people, the ancient people of the land, are pushed away into reservations, much like they are here in the U.S. And the new government would be Israel, a Zionist regime. And Zionism is not the same as the Jewish religion. If you understand what Zionism is, then you understand that the state of Israel is not a state for Jewish people. The state of Israel is a manufactured state for Jewish people. It is posing as something sacred, as something biblical, but it is not. And if you just look at Israelis themselves, they do not have the characteristics of the traditional Jewish people. They are more like Caucasians, the Israelis, than they are like true Jewish people. And it's the same in the U.S. By and large, the people who took over the U.S. are more like Caucasians than the natives who lived here, the ancient tribes who lived here, some of whom still live here, but in vastly smaller numbers. So I'm just saying the funding of war for the last couple centuries in this country only created more power for this country, for the U.S. And the U.S. has funded the Israeli takeover of Palestine. It has from the beginning. The U.S. wants an arm in the Middle East to control the Middle East. And that's exactly why Israel exists today. Israel does not exist because the Israelis themselves and only themselves wanted it to exist. It exists today mainly because the U.S. wanted it to exist. The U.S. has funded the existence of Israel from the beginning and continues to do so today. The U.S. government does not care about the hungry children here in the U.S. The U.S. government does not care about the struggling people here in the U.S. The U.S. has not solved its crime problem or its suicide problem or its hunger problem or its poverty problem. But the U.S. has put tens of millions of dollars into the state of Israel every single day for the past 80 years. Let's watch some more.
Barack Obama, you promised change. Change we can believe in. Let me tell you, change in our foreign policy requires courage and real leadership. And the Middle East has to be front and center in your agenda. Congress is trying to block your promised change.
Pastime activity, the toxicity of our city.
This is inherent to the very nature of Zionism, which requires that the native people of Palestine be denied representation and political rights within their own ancestral land.
And again, that's exactly what the U.S. government and the settlers and the colonizers did to the natives who lived on the U.S. continent. They denied them their own land.
And that the very idea of a Jewish state requires special privilege for one people all over others. That's why we have to stop Zionism. Thank you.
More wood for their fires, no
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, he told us that if you take a life, you kill all of humanity. And if you save a life, you save all of humanity. We say that life is sacred.
The toxicity of our city.
Life is sacred. Life is sacred, and if you don't think so, then there is something wrong with you. If you think that life is expendable, then there is something wrong with you. Unless someone is attacking you directly and you need to defend yourself, life is sacred. Okay? It is absolutely sacred. Unless only, to me, this is like the only situation where you have the right to value your life over someone else, is if that person is trying to end your life. That's the only way, to me, justification of ending someone else's life. Like that's the only justification to me at any time, at any point, anywhere, period, is if your life is directly in danger. Life is sacred, and we should all want to protect our own lives, as well as the lives of those around us, as well as the lives of our neighbors, of strangers among us. And again, if you don't feel that way, if you feel like you would protect your life and save yourself before anyone else because you value your own life above all others, then this is not the video for you. This is not the channel for you. By and large, every single war the U.S. has participated in has been manufactured, has been set off by some false flag, by some orchestrated event. And again, the CIA and the FBI, they know these things. They know that the U.S. has the resources to solve the problems that the U.S. has, its own citizens has, the poverty, the crime, the lack of education. The U.S. has the resources to solve all those problems. And the FBI and the CIA and even secret agencies we don't even know about, unnamed agencies, black operations we don't even know about. They all know this, but they don't care. They put funding into wars because wars are profitable. And again, ask anyone at Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and all the others. Let them tell you. They won't be honest, of course. And let BlackRock tell you too. BlackRock participating directly in the gentrification and the complete and utter destruction of communities around the U.S. right now. Around this country right now. They are concerned, quote, concerned about other countries, but not their own, the U.S. government. They don't really care about the people. They force to pay them taxes. About the people they force to follow their rules and their laws. They don't care about us. But they care about their billionaire friends, but about their millionaire friends, about their hierarchies and secret societies. They care about those people. But they don't care about us, and they have not cared about Palestine. And President Obama, when he was in office, he made sure that we all knew that too, that he didn't really care about Palestine either. And again, I live in Massachusetts. And anytime I hear about the Obamas, a Martha's Vineyard, it just makes me sick because, again, the Obamas are a millionaire African-American family, but they don't, who used, by the way, their ethnicity to manipulate African-American communities in order to prevail in their presidency, in which they did nothing for Palestine, in which they did nothing for African-American communities. The Obamas care about rich people, just like the government only cares about rich people. The Obamas do not care about the people struggling in inner city Boston, about the tents in inner city Boston, about the families that keep losing their homes in Boston and everywhere else in Massachusetts because they can't afford to keep up with the cost of living. The Obamas live here, but they do not care about the people here. And yet, so many people think the Obamas are cool as shit. I paid attention during the Obama administration, and as I have with every other administration, not one single president has ever gave a damn about Palestine. And not one single president has solved poverty in the U.S. And yet, you'll notice they always have money for war. They always have money for space. They always have money for world domination. But they never have resources for their own people.
State terrorism against the Palestinian people. We are here to demand an end to the illegal occupation of Palestinian territory. We are here to demand an end to the hypocrisy of our administration. We are here to demand an end to the slaughter of innocent people in Gaza. Over the last 2 weeks, over 800 Palestinians have been murdered. We ask you to preserve the rule of law. We ask you to hold and uphold the sanctity of human life. Visit your members of Congress, raise questions, and don't settle for unconvincing answers.
And that's the end of the video, and I ended it with this photo I took, and it reads, "Death thanks Bush and Cheney, for 8 prosperous years of murder and mayhem, torture and destruction. You boys sure know how to throw a bloodbath." Yeah. So anyway, again, I'll leave the link to the video in the description below. And it was, again, from my old YouTube channel over 15 years ago. It was a channel I started and never finished, never resumed. I moved when I started the channel, and then I just never put more time into it. I moved across the country and started a completely different life and made different plans. But I went back to it because I've noticed more on my newsfeed on YouTube that for whatever reason, YouTube is not censoring. YouTube has not been censoring details happening in Gaza right now. When for years, people, it was difficult to find content about Gaza. And I'm not complaining right now. I'm not complaining. I want people to know what's going on in Gaza right now. And I ask you to please just research it and look it up yourself, and just go on YouTube right now. It's everywhere on YouTube right now, unlike it has ever been before. YouTube, Google has participated in the censorship of what has happened to the people of Palestine over the decades. I witnessed it myself. YouTube, Google, Alphabet, they have all been part of the censorship. What about censoring what the U.S. is directly funding regarding Israel's takeover of Gaza. But right now, for the last several weeks, at least, I have seen a tremendous amount of content on YouTube pertaining to what is going on, what is happening to the people in Gaza, to the people of Palestine. And it is important, but it has been important. That's the point of this video. That I created this video 15 years ago, and the destruction continued, and other news sources, other independent news networks have continued to report on the destruction of Gaza, of the destruction of the people of Palestine. And nothing has happened. President after president, nothing has happened. It's only gotten worse. The funding for Israel's war, Israel's colonization, that funding has only continued. It has only increased. And the censorship around it was crazy for years and years. But now, again, I don't know why, but YouTube is allowing these voices to be heard. Channel after channel after channel are popping up, talking about what is going on in Gaza. And I just want my audience to know what's going on, to understand what's going on. And I will be providing you with sources, really good sources. The whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that phrase, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that was always intended to confuse people. It was never a conflict. There was never an Israeli conflict with Palestine. It was only ever an Israeli conquering of Palestine, not conflict, conquering of Palestine. And just look at the map. I will provide that to you as well. Just look at the map of what Palestine was and what it is now. It is now Israel. It was a takeover. It was an attempted extermination of the Palestinian people. And they have almost succeeded. There is not much left. There are more Palestinians living in other countries than in Palestine right now. And I just really hope you know that the U.S., our government, the U.S. government, is directly responsible. They were the sole proprietor, the U.S. government was. Let's watch this video. This is from the YouTube channel AJ Plus. It has grown in popularity, and people have been clicking on these videos. And again, I'm grateful for it. I'm not complaining. I just wonder, why now? Why is YouTube allowing these content creators to have a voice now? It's just curious to me. Because again, I personally witnessed the censorship over the last 15 years at least. But anyway, I am grateful that they're showing now, but to me, it's a bit too late. Palestine needed help decades ago. Palestine needed help during World War II. Palestine needed help 30 years ago. 10 years ago. Why now?
To their homes to clean, removing the rubble, and cleaning some rooms so they have somewhere to sleep in. They're grateful that they have ceilings, but look at that. It is destroyed. The home is without colors. I mean, look, this is the kitchen. I did not realize that this is the kitchen. This is the living room, and it's now opened to the whole city. But سلامات. شو اسمك انت؟
حمدان.
تعالي حنان. ورجيني ايديك. رجليك. اوعيك. ليش هيك مبهدل؟
And I really want you guys to know, like the Palestinians are ancient people. They are of ancient origin. Israel is not. The people of Israel are not.
تشتغلوا بتنظفوا؟
بننظف عشان تعال نقعد فيه.
شو رايك في الدار؟ شو صاير فيه؟
السقف عشان نشوف الهواء السقف.
فاتحين لكم في السقف فتحة؟
هني عم كفر استشهد
واستشهد؟
استشهد معاه 16 نفر استشهد في الصيف.
I'm going with Ismail and Hamdan to the roof of their home, and they're going to show me a lot of things as they said.
Before the genocide, they were not able to see the sea. Now everything is destroyed so they can see it.
هاي خرطة تعالى فيها كورة نفرح. هاي القناص كم قاعد ده؟
ايش صار؟
القناص قاعد طلعي.
القناص كان قاعد هان؟
كان بطق على الناس.
ايش لاقى القناص؟ ايش لقيت ورا؟
They're just picking up bullets from where the snipers left them. It's like these are children.
هاي رصاص. هاي شوف.
That was a bank there.
It just said that there are estimates that it could take 80 years to rebuild this destruction.
These all were shops. All of these places were shops. That was the market.
So this was November 2023, before Israel's siege. Around 400,000 people lived in Khan Younis. 400,000 people. Look at how bustling it is, how full of life it is. And again, Israel didn't do this by themselves. The U.S. government, our U.S. government, funded this destruction.
Look at this. Look what is written here. USA.
Yeah, USA. Like if you don't believe me, just go there yourself. All of the Israeli arms are USA, are from the USA. Everything the Israeli army has is because of the USA.
USA.
These are the American weapons behind me that are used to destroy the buildings around me.
People here are collecting wood for the fire because they don't have gas to cook. These are our people now. Can you see the destruction? Oh my God. Oh my God. This destruction, يعني cannot be real. This is not real. It's the first time to be shocked like that and questioning if this is real or it's only in my head. But this cannot be real. And I think that I must wake up. I'm so shocked. I cannot imagine that this can be real. And look around me. I'm in Nasser Medical Complex after 3 months in Rafah, and exactly at this point I used to sit and to sleep for 70 days. Here was my tent. You need to know that this was a very crowded, active place. This is an ambulance vehicle also destroyed. Look at that.
There are countless documents over the decades of Israeli military intentionally targeting ambulances, intentionally targeting first responders to impede any rescue efforts. I mean, guys, you have to know that the Israeli forces are trained to be psychopaths. They are trained to use everything in their power, within their means, to ensure the death of the Palestinians. and to ensure that the Palestinians do not receive aid.
That area was full of tents. We're going down to the mass graves behind that building.
So 10,000 people were living in tents when Israeli ordered their evacuation.
But this is the ambulance station. And here more ambulance cars were destroyed. Look at this. And there. And another one there. They have been trying for a week to grab the bodies from under the rubble.
They found 400 bodies, including women, children, and patients, uncovered from a mass grave. But did you see how all of the ambulances were deliberately shot down, were deliberately destroyed?
These bodies were not complete, okay? These bodies are stolen. Their skin, some bodies are without heads, some bodies are without organs. So we in Gaza and Palestine are stolen, alive or dead.
But they've known it for a long time. The International Criminal Court, like, they've known it for a long time. And I'll leave the link to this video in the description below, as well as the other one from my old channel. But the UN, the world governments, they've all known what Israel was doing to Palestine for all these decades. They've known it for years. And nothing has happened. Israel has only been permitted to continue the destruction, to continue the genocide and extermination of the Palestinian people. You know, again, I am grateful that YouTube is allowing this content to go viral right now. It looks like a lot of it is going viral right now. And that's important. But again, I'm frustrated because to me, this is too long. It's been too long, and there should have been an intervention a long time ago. But again, the U.S. government and other world governments and the UN and even the International Criminal Court, they've all shown me that they don't really care about right and wrong. They haven't done anything about this genocide this entire time. But now they want to step in when Israel has almost completely conquered that region. Now they want to step in. Now they don't want to censor. You know, better late than never, I guess. But this is why I ask that we all become better analyzers. You know, from micro situations like the Karen Reed case, local situations like the Karen Reed case, to macro situations like what has been going on in Palestine, directly because of U.S. government. What happened to Karen Reed is because of the government, the enforcers of government, and what has happened to Palestine is because of government. Thank you for watching.